Hey, welcome back, rankers. I'm having an awesome week. Last Friday, I got a #1, and the client was over the moon. Well, not really client, because she was one of the bloggers whose site we used in the Bloggers SEO product that's coming out very soon. If you want to know more about that, head across to bloggersseo.com or bloggersseo.com.au and sign up there. But the awesome thing about that one was that the SEO stuff was actually quite easy to do because she was already blogging. She was already looking after her audience. She was already trying to build her audience. And that's what makes SEO so much easier if you're doing those things. Because what happens is that you're getting all that love and the links and stuff that people share about your content and those sorts of things, and the sticky time on the site. Google knows that people love the site regardless of how many backlinks you've got. She only had 38 backlinks. So Google knows things like bounce rates and all that sort of stuff, because they'll tell you that the Google Analytics team, it doesn't talk to the ranking team or the algorithm team. However, the algorithm team, I'm sure, have access to all the data that is coming in via Google Chrome and those sorts of things. Anyway, build your audience first, and you can worry about the SEO later. Now, another announcement this week on Thursday. Don't forget, we've got the webinar on site migration. So if you're thinking about pushing a new site live, please don't until you've watched this free webinar. Seriously, if you want to keep your business, you want to keep traffic from Google, watch this webinar first. And if you want to know where that is, just tweet me at JimBoot or sign up to the newsletter at stuartmedia.com.au, and we will make sure that you are notified. Now, I had an interesting conundrum this week with a client that his conversion rate had dropped from 1.5% to 1%, and we were doing the data was, long story, we didn't have a lot of data to compare to because it was erroneous, anyway. But what we knew was that back in April, we discovered that there was a conversion drop. And this is under organic conversion rate in behavior in Google Analytics. And you can see there, 33% conversion rate drop for an e-commerce site is bad, right? And so this little blip here is their developers went and pushed responsive site live. Back, you can see it was in April, obviously. And anyway, some stuff happened with the code, and that's why we've got this sort of anomaly here. But it was a 33% drop in their conversion rates. So because they pushed that responsive design live, and you would have to say cause and effect here, you would have to say, well, they did this thing and this thing happened. I know that correlation doesn't always equal causation, and we'll get to that in a second. But that was significant. So I went through and I looked at all the different browser types, operating system types. I thought, well, maybe it's the operating environment of some users that are coming to the site the responsive design is affecting conversion rates. It wasn't any of that. That took me hours. What a waste of time that was. No, learned heaps. So then I went and looked at the site speed overview, and look at this. Before the responsive design, it was 5 seconds. After the responsive design, it was 10 seconds. Now, you might say, well, 5 seconds, that's ridiculously slow. Yes, however, this data here is also out of Google Analytics, and it's out of the site speed overview. And it's based on a sample set of users that are coming to the site. So what comes into play there is all sorts of things like, load of the server at the time, what the user's browser, all sorts of things, right? However, what the relative difference is what we're looking at. We're looking at a doubling of page load times after that update. And you would have to say, well, is it correlation or causation? Well, you go, well, I think it's causation, right? Because there's nothing else. We can't find anything else. Anyway, so the client, and we'd been talking about speed for some time, so the client upgraded last Friday, And you can see here, since then, their traffic has increased by 34%. Well, that's not what we were trying to do. We were trying to fix conversion rates, not increase traffic. But all these rankings came up, and I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, Travis. All these rankings came up, but our e-commerce conversion rate year on year is still down. Need to do some more digging there. And I also used and by the way, revenue was up 39% as well. So we're not complaining, right? However, there's still some money there on the table that we can go and grab if we can work out what's going on here with these woeful conversion rates. And thanks to, I have to thank Glenn Gabe for this. Glenn Gabe on Twitter. This bloke, go and follow him if you're interested in really interesting stuff about SEO. He writes great stuff, and he's done a really good article today about algorithm updates for Google this year, and he's got some interesting tools and techniques and those sorts of things. And I used some of them today in isolating which pages possibly were low in conversion rates and which page, on this site in particular. Some pages the conversion rates are up by 1,000%, other pages are down by 500%. So it's interesting because you can go and look at those pages and think, well, what's wrong with this page? Or was it a different page last year? Did we update this page? What is it? So some really good tools. I won't go into it now because it's quite extensive what he's done, but just go and follow him on Twitter anyway. But that was really interesting for the speed issue. So we already know. I mean, the client site, you might say 5 seconds is pretty slow, but it wasn't really 5 seconds. Like in the Google Search Console, it's about 1.5 seconds, which is still too slow. We want it down to 500 milliseconds in the Google Search Console. And that's the bot reporting rather than the users reporting. Anyway, get faster. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you at the webinar. Thanks very much. Bye.